Come on. Hey everybody, I'm Jesse. If you don't know me, I've been building in crypto for a decade, Ethereum since it started, and the last 2 years Base. And I'm really excited to be here to talk about how we're thinking about onboarding the next billion people to Ethereum. And like Miss Purple said, we've been on a little bit of a journey. We've been on a little bit of a journey for the last 2 weeks. We started in New York City. Then we took an overnight flight to Kenya, where there was no Wi-Fi. It was very painful. And then we were in Kenya for 3 days. We met incredible builders there. Then we flew to India. Now we're here in now we're here in Bangkok. Then we fly to Singapore, and then we go to Manila. And the whole point of this tour is to tell the story of the world coming on-chain, and to listen and to learn and to figure out how we can support builders make that transformation happen faster. And we've been in a ton of places, so I just want to quickly shout them out. We started out in Kenya, and we had spent the last 3 weeks running a build-a-thon, and we saw an incredible number of projects building on Base, building this global on-chain economy. Fun fact, Kenya, Africa was double the next build-a-thon in terms of the number of participants. There were more than 1,000 builders from across the continent, Kenya, Nigeria, Ghana, South Africa. And it was also so inspiring to see that at Devcon this year, there were more than 150 builders from the African continent. And that was compared to around 10 at the last Devcon 2 years ago. And my full expectation is that when we are hopefully in Africa for Devcon 2026, there are going to be thousands of African builders at Devcon. And they're going to be a core contingent of building the future of Ethereum. So that was where we started first. Next up, we went to India. The builders in India are so cracked. It is unbelievable. The level of talent, the level of energy and hard work. And I think the thing that was most striking is the builders in India, they're all thinking about how do we build for the global economy? And getting to be there in Bangalore and feel that energy. We played some football. We won. So that was that's good. But getting to feel that energy was so inspiring. And it put us in a great mood as we headed to Southeast Asia. Where we are here today. We're here in Bangkok, where the builder energy has been incredible. And then tomorrow we fly to Singapore. We're there for 3 days. And then we fly to Manila directly after that. And we're going to be listening, we're going to be learning, we're going to continue to do the thing. One place we weren't able to go to on this trip, because going to Argentina and then Kenya was a little bit too far, was Latin America. Pero los builders in Latin America son increíbles. Increíble. Y vamos a viajar a Latinoamérica en el nuevo año y estamos muy emocionados para reunir con los builders y celebrar esta economía global que estamos trabajando y estamos creando juntos. And I think the thing that really struck us as we were going on this world tour and as we were meeting with builders is crypto is not a thing that's going to happen in the future. It's a thing that's happening right now. In every single country, in every single region, we felt energy and we saw real solutions. We saw people building stablecoins, local stablecoins that would make their economy stronger. We saw people talking about global payments and how by cutting down on fees, you could actually have better outcomes for families that were separated and across different parts of the world. We saw people using on-chain finance to make it easier to save, to spend, to store, to grow your wealth and build better businesses. And then I think we saw an emerging trend around creators who we believe are going to be at the forefront of bringing the world on-chain, and how this new on-chain economy is actually enabling them to do 10x better. Because instead of having a centralized intermediary that sits in between them and their fans, they go direct and they make more money. And so all of that was incredible, but the thing that was most incredible was the people. The experience of flying to now 3 different countries and touching down and not knowing what to expect, and then being greeted with people who are so passionate, so energetic, so hardworking, so smart, and all have the same mission of building a global on-chain economy that's going to make the world a better place. There is nothing like that. It is the most inspiring thing I could ever imagine, and getting to be here now in the ultimate melting pot of Ethereum, where we have people from 140 countries. This is what it's all about. It's what it's all about. And so I want to talk a little bit about why. Why are we doing this? Why are we flying around the world? Why are we here at Devcon? Why have tens of thousands of people come together? And it's because the systems that we have today are not working. Raise your hand if you are a developer and you've had to deal with a frustrating App Store review process where people have blocked you, or you've had to give away 30% of your revenue to a centralized corporation. Raise your hand. That's a lot of developers. Raise your hand if you're a creator and you've spent years putting your creativity online and you feel undervalued and like you haven't actually earned for that. And raise your hand if you are just an everyday person who's been frustrated because an app isn't available to you, because you have a different phone, or because you're in a different country, or because you were born in a different place. This is the world we live in today, and this is the world that is not working. It's a world that's controlled by a small number of corporations. It's a world that's siloed, where depending on where you're born, depending on where you live, you get different access, and people around the world are fed up. They're sick of it, and they want to build something new. And that's what Onchain is. Onchain is a new economy. It's a new internet. It's a world where if you're a developer, you can build on open platforms, and no one can stop you, and no one can deplatform you, and you don't have to pay any fees to anyone. If you're a creator, you can put your creativity on-chain, and you can earn literally 10x more while getting access to asymmetric upside, where if you go viral, you make money. And if you want to use an app, it doesn't matter where you're born, it doesn't matter where you live, it doesn't matter what phone you have. You can participate because you're an important person and you deserve to have a global economy that works for you. And that's the on-chain part. But let's talk about the base part. Why base? Why am I up here? Why am I at Ethereum Devcon? It's because we think about base as Ethereum. Base is Ethereum. And Base is bringing the world on-chain to Ethereum right now. All around the world, millions of people are starting to onboard to Ethereum through Base. And in doing that, they're coming together to say, we believe in a better world. We believe in building a global on-chain economy that's going to massively increase innovation, creativity, and freedom. And we believe that when we do that, it's going to change the world. And it's going to bring millions of developers, billions of people, trillions of dollars of assets onto a secure, decentralized, fast platform that anyone, anywhere can participate in. An internet by the people, for the people that actually works for us. And it's not just figment of our imagination. It's not just something that's going to happen in the future. It's something that's happening right now. Base launched a year ago on top of Ethereum, and in the last year, I didn't know what to expect, but I can tell you I did not expect this. We've seen tens of thousands of developers show up. We've seen millions and millions of people show up. We've seen billions of dollars of assets come into the economy. We've seen 6 million daily transactions. We've seen tens of millions of dollars earned by developers and millions of dollars earned by creators. This is the future. When we talk about a new on-chain economy that works for us, this is what we are talking about. We're talking about real money in the pockets of real people who otherwise didn't have access, who otherwise didn't have the opportunity to create or to build or to participate in the way that they do now, because they're now participating in a global economy that works for them. And it's not just numbers. Alongside all those numbers, we've also seen incredible cultural momentum. People have base names. They literally rock them on shirts that they make. They show up at base camp. They build with tools like Onchain Kit. They're celebrating and following us on base around the world. There's a movement that's happening. Raise your hand if you participate in Onchain Summer. Yeah, we're here. And we're announcing ourselves to everyone and saying the time is now. The future is now. But it's still day one. And I think we started here, and we've been on this slow and steady march of building infrastructure. But the march is coming to an end. And the acceleration is starting to begin because we finally have the tools. We have fast, cheap block space. We have easy wallets. We have fast and easy to access identity. And when we put that together into consumer products that work, we're going to go from here to there. And it's going to happen faster than any of us can imagine. Because the power and the benefits of the on-chain economy are going to blow people's minds. And once you go on-chain, you will never go back. Because being a part of an economy that works for you is the future. And so let's talk about what are we doing to make that happen. There's a lot of work that has to be done. And the Base team and the Ethereum team is working together as a massive super team to figure out how do we get there faster. And there's 5 things that are top of mind for me. The first thing, we have to keep scaling. This year, Base went from 2.5 megagas a second to 17 megagas a second. Next year, we'll push to 100. We need to scale 10 to 20x next year if we want to keep up. With things like Pectra A, where we're hopefully going to do a target increase for blobs, and PeerDAS, where we're going to be more sustainable path forward for more data availability. That's the work that the Base team is contributing to and that Ethereum core developers around the world are working to make happen so that when the world comes on chain, it remains fast, cheap, and accessible to everyone. The second thing that we need to do is we need to continue decentralizing. 3 weeks ago, Base shipped fault proofs. It was a huge milestone. And what that means for maybe those who are less in the weeds is that we went from a world where there were a few parties validating Base and making sure that it was safe and working for people, to a world where anyone, anywhere can participate in securing the network. And where there's no single actor or no even handful of actors that could prevent you from moving into Base or moving out of Base. And from a decentralization perspective, that's incredibly important. Because unless we have those protections, unless we have that freedom, we're not going to be able to build a global economy. And we have more work to do. In the months ahead, we'll be working to get to stage 1. We have work to do on our Security Council. And then after that, we're going to be pushing to stage 2. And this work remains at the top of mind for us because the only way we build a global economy is by building a decentralized platform that powers it all. And as we have that scalable platform and that decentralized platform, we're also going to keep making sure that that economy, it's not just a technology platform, it's also an economic platform. And it's an economic platform that works for everyone everywhere. And the thing that I'm most excited about here is supporting countries around the world to bring their economies on chain, starting with local stablecoins that work for every country around the world. And I'm excited to say and proud that in Thailand right now, in Bangkok right now, we are supporting a Thai bot stablecoin, THBX, which is in a regulatory sandbox where all around Devcon, you can pay for merchant goods using a Thai bot stablecoin on Base. That is the innovation that we need, and we need it in every country around the world. Because the best version of Ethereum, the best version of this global economy is one that lifts up every country and gives them sovereignty and empowers them to take these new tools and use them to make their economies better. And then if they want to use Ethereum, if they want to use dollars, that's okay too, but we can't lose sight of the fact that We all need our own countries. We all need our own communities, and we need the tools to make those communities stronger. And so we're going to keep doing the work to make it so everyone everywhere can come on-chain and feel like they're coming into their community on-chain, because that's a fundamental human right. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to make it incredibly easy for anyone to build on-chain. Because if we have a secure platform that's decentralized, where the economic infrastructure is there, the next thing you need are developers and builders who are going to create that next generation of applications that drive overall adoption. We're doing this thing with things like base names, where you can have an out-of-the-box identity that just works. And it gives you your social information, it gives you your personal information. It connects to things like your builder score, where you can actually see how good of a builder are you. And you can use that to actually get things like under-collateralized lending. So you can get credit for building. And you can use that to make your life better. And a shout out to ENS and Talent Protocol, who's been doing incredible work to make that happen. We're going to do it with things like the smart wallet, which makes it so any user can go from never having interacted with crypto to being in your app in less than 10 seconds. And takes all of the complexity of on-ramping and cross-chain execution and abstracts it. So all you have to worry about is building incredible products, and open source infrastructure handles the rest of it. And then we're going to do it with things like Onchain Kit, where literally right now and in the months ahead, even if you've never written code before, using AI tools and Onchain Kit, you're going to be able to go from nothing to a full functioning app with a feed, with messaging, with payments, with swap, with identity in less than an hour. From nothing to a full functioning app in less than an hour. 5 years ago, people would have said, that's crazy, that's impossible. But now, because we have the world's computer that can power these applications, and we have open source that's letting anyone build on top of them, it's not only possible, it's easy. And anyone in this room, and anyone who's on the stream, and anyone around the world is going to be able to build this next generation of applications on-chain. And then the last thing is that we're going to do it for creators. Because when we think about the next 5 years, and we think about what's going to be required to bring the entire world on-chain, it's going to be driven by creators. Because they're the ones who can tell the story. They're the ones who can share their experience. They're the ones who can inspire their millions, there's tens of millions, there are hundreds of millions of fans to believe in a new economy that works that's built by the people, that works for the people, and that's going to put money back in the hands of creators, of builders, of small businesses, of the people who need it most, so that they can build better, so that they can create better, and so that they can accelerate the rate at which we build this new global economy that's going to work better for all of us. And so I guess the last thing I have to say is, let's get building. This is not something that I can do alone. This is not something that Base can do alone. This is not something that Ethereum can do alone. This is something that we need to do together. And when we do it together, we will change the world. And I don't know all the details, but I want to leave you all with 3 things that we've been thinking a lot about as we're entering the new year that we hope can help you build better. The first is that we need to make something people want. For too long, I think we've been distracted by tokens and prices and noise, and we've lost the plot. And unless we are building products that solve real problems for real people, for real businesses, we are not on track. And every day I'm meeting builders who are doing that, and we need more. We need to keep making something people want. The second thing is that we need to build incredibly simple experiences. We can no longer say, oh, this is good for crypto. That's not good enough. We need to build experiences that are 10x better than the experiences that Web 2 companies have been building for the last decade, that these massive corporations have invested hundreds of billions of dollars in optimizing, and we need to beat them. And so we need to build world-class experiences that just work for everyday people, for everyday businesses. And then the last thing is that we all need to bring new people on chain. Take your app, show it to your friends, show it to your family. Hell, show it to the random person walking on the street, because you're going to learn something, and if each one of us does that, we're going to bring the world on chain much faster. And so let's fucking build. The time is now. We are at day one of building a new global economy on Ethereum, on Base, that will fundamentally change the world. And when we look back in 10 years or 20 years or 50 years, we will think about this moment. We will think about the friends we met at Devcon. We will think about the ideas that were created at Devcon, and we'll say, oh my God, can you believe that we were there? Can you believe that we were the people that changed the world, that built a new economy, a new global economy, a new global on-chain economy that was built by the people, for the people, and massively increased innovation, creativity, and freedom around the world? So with that, thank you all for being here. We got a few minutes for questions, then we'll wrap it up. Keep on building. Who's got the questions? There we go.
Of course. Thank you so much, Jesse. That was great. I think that was very inspiring. And as an African, I'm very proud to have you traveling across all over the world. I think everybody here understands that the value of Base is within the people.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
People for the people.
Yeah. Round of applause. Okay, we're going to start off with the questions. The one at the top is, will Base ever want decentralized sequencers?
Great questions. Yes, absolutely. We have basically thought about our decentralization roadmap in a few phases. The first and most important phase was moving from stage 0 to stage 1. We just launched fault proofs a few weeks ago. That was a huge milestone. We're working on our Security Council changes that will get us fully to stage 1. Then we're going to continue pushing on that side of decentralization towards stage 2 in the year ahead. At the same time, on the OP stack, R&D has started around what does decentralized sequencing look like. We're really excited about that. We're having conversations first about kind of proposer-builder separation on Base, which we think is probably where we'll start, where we'll actually decentralize the builder side so that more folks can build blocks within like certain constraints. And then over time, we'll also decentralize the proposer side. Now, the one thing I will say about this is we have explicitly designed L2s as a construct on Ethereum so that they can still be decentralized even if the sequencer isn't decentralized. That's the whole conceit. That's what forced inclusion enables, and that's what makes it so that the sequencer is just a fast lane, and anyone can go through Ethereum to add transactions to Base or to withdraw from Base. And that property is super, super important. So we're absolutely going to keep pushing on sequencer decentralization, but we're also just going to keep making Base decentralized with other languages, other components.
All right, who will be on-chain first? My mom, who's 70 years old, or my kid, who's 2 years old?
Look, I want both of those people on-chain, but I honestly think it will probably be your kid. When we think about where technology happens, adoption happens, it happens with young people. We saw this with the internet, we saw this with social media, we saw this with mobile technology, and I think the value prop to young people of the on-chain economy is even more compelling. Because around the world today, if you are a young person, you are functionally unbanked. Like in the United States, if you're less than 18, you cannot get a bank account without your parents approving it, without your parents functionally having that bank account. But in the on-chain economy, you can just download a wallet, and you can be plugged into a new global economy that's going to work for you. And that access is important. And so I think young people are going to see the power of that. They're going to get on-chain, and they're going to be at the forefront of driving global adoption.
All right. What happens to Base if Coinbase ceases to exist?
Well, the first thing I'll say is Coinbase isn't going anywhere. You know, Coinbase has been building in the on-chain economy for the last 12 years. We deeply believe that this is a multi-decade effort. And we're so freaking blessed to have a leader and founder and CEO in Brian Armstrong who believes in decentralization, who believes in fighting for freedom and fighting for the on-chain economy more than anyone. And when I look at the history of Base over the last 2 years, I can honestly say that without Brian pounding the table for Base to be open, to be permissionless, to be decentralized, we would not be where we are today. Now, at the same time, we need to reduce risk that Coinbase could be one of those people who controls. We need to reduce risk that if something did happen to Coinbase, something could happen to Base. And that's what our decentralization roadmap is. And so the really powerful thing that we just did with fault proofs going live is we removed the final kind of check, that Coinbase had, which was there was a permission component of being able to withdraw from Base that required Coinbase validation, because that's how the pre-fault proof system worked. And now with fault proofs live, that's gone. So even if Coinbase were to disappear tomorrow, you could still keep submitting transactions to Base through L1. You could still keep submitting transactions from Base that would let you withdraw from L1. And you could continue operating across the global on-chain economy on Ethereum as if maybe not nothing had happened, but as if you still had your freedom. Because freedom is at the core of this global on-chain economy. Optionality is at the core of this global on-chain economy. And we're excited to build that global on-chain economy with all of you. So thank you so much for being here. Have a great day, everybody. Keep building and stay based.
Thank you, Jesse, and